muscle contraction occurs when an action potential arrives at a terminal bud that's attached to a muscle fiber. This is called a neuromuscular junction. The action potential arrives, calcium channels open up, initiating the movement of vesicles to the edge of the terminal bud. Through exocytosis, the neurotransmitter is released into the synapse or the synaptic cleft. The neurotransmitter for muscle contraction is acetylcholine. Acetylcholine diffuses from high to low concentration and binds to a receptor protein on the muscle fiber. This initiates an action potential down the muscle fiber. To get into the muscle cell, the action potential travels down a T-tubule until it reaches a specialized endoplasmic reticulum called the sarcoplasmic reticulum, or the SR. The action potential initiates the release of calcium ions. Calcium ions bind to a protein complex called troponin on the sarcomeres of the muscle fibers. The calcium ions cause troponin to change conformation. When it changes conformation, troponin lifts another protein that it's attached to called tropomyosin. That's the rope you see right here. It lifts it out of the way of myosin binding sites on actin. With the myosin binding sites exposed, myosin cross bridges can now be formed. So myosin heads, or you could call them myosin cross bridges, will now bind to the myosin binding sites on the actin, and it will pull, the myosin heads will pull the actin towards the center of the sarcomere. That's a muscular contraction. ATP is what powers the sliding of this filament. So basically, myosin binds to actin and pulls actin towards the center. It detaches, it binds again to the actin, pulls it closer to the center. It detaches, myosin binds again and pulls the actin towards the center of the sarcomere until the contraction is complete. So ATP hydrolysis, meaning the ATP is breaking down. So the ATP is being broken up, energy is being released. That's powering the movement or the sliding of the actin and myosin filaments past one another. This will happen until the contraction is complete, which happens when the action potential stops, when it ceases. When the action potential ends, calcium ions are reabsorbed via active transport, so by a pump. They're reabsorbed back into the sarcoplasmic reticulum where they came from, so they can be used again for another muscle contraction. Because there are no longer any calcium ions available, troponin changes conformation again. The tropomyosin blocks the myosin binding sites on actin. The myosin heads can no longer bind, they detach, and that is the end of muscle contraction. That's it.